See if this is working. Alright, it does work. Alright, so we are playing on Oasis. We have an Egypt against Celt matchup, which is probably the most common matchup we've seen in Project Celeste so far. So these players are both very experienced with this matchup. And this is, I think, the smallest map in the map pool. So that's going to be a lot of action early on, as compared to the boomy games we've seen before. Both players do have access to a restart for the first 2 minutes if they decide to do so. I personally think the map is balanced enough, so I won't call a restart, but after 2 minutes I will remove the chat hider on screen. So off the bat, Eery moved his Priestess of Ra to empower the storehouse, so he's getting a little 2-for-1 here. He walked quite far to also have 2 villagers gather from this tree, but then because the priestess is empowering this, instead of dropping off 10 food and wood, they drop off 11. And he's also getting a barracks. Let's see what Carnage is doing. He's also getting a barracks. He did the same 2-for-1 thing, it seems. Actually, it looks like he gathered his wood from the strangler trees around this town center and is now making a wood storehouse. So Carnage scouting out Eery. I think he scouted the barracks. He did. Eery scout is just about to find the base of Carnage. So one other strategy that we've seen in tournaments in this game is people sending their initial 3 starting villagers to build a pond, build a dock in the middle pond. And these are actually shallow, so you can walk over them. And well, this pond is pretty important to control because many of the map's resources are centered around it. This map did get rebalanced a little bit so that the resources now spawn a little bit farther, because before there used to be like 3 gold mines in ship range, which was a bit too strong. So the middle pond is a little less strong right now. However, I still think it's pretty important to control, because ships do a lot of damage to units, and just controlling the middle of this small map is pretty good. So both players just keeping their spears at home. Actually, they're sending them over right now. Looks like Eery might just send them over to his storehouse to defend. No, he's going in. He has 3 more here actually. They're gonna walk right past each other. Yeah, they were inside each other's line of sight, so they could see that. So we have 8 spearmen for Eery against the only 6 for Carnage. Eery's macro is slipping up a little bit. He's housed right now. This house is not nearly done. He has a bit too much food and not enough wood. And Carnage is going to go for the dock here. His macro seems to be going a little bit better, so he's already going to the second age. What's up, Cure? I'm drinking a beer right now to honor Cure. Okay, so Carnage not going for stone right now for town center, but he's instead taking the middle pond, instantly building a fishing boat from it. Eery going for stone. He can almost afford to put down his temple to go edge 2, which Carnage has already reached. So he already has access to the economy tax, which he should get right now. Hansa, probably. So different approaches to playing this map. So Thunder asks what the main differences are between the Celts and the Nords. Well, first of all, this is Celts against Egypt, so there are no Nords here. Well, the Celts are an infantry-focused civ, so they have a special building for infantry upgrades. One other important thing they have is that they have a druid which can heal in combat, which many other civs do not have. And one important thing about the Egyptians is that they age up by building temples. They do have their own priests which also heal in combat. And they tend to have a bit weaker units which are also cheaper. So these spearmen, these blue spearmen which are Egyptian, are a little bit weaker. However, for the specific spearmen of the Celtic civilization, those are also quite cheap. So another trait of the Celtic civilization is they tend to have very high damaging units, which are not that tanky. So this longswordsman has 13 DPS, which is insanely high. If you compare it to the Axeman for the Egyptians, it only has 8 DPS, so it's quite a bit difference. If you compare the spearman, 10 DPS against 12. However, the spearmen do have a little bit more HP. So overall, the Celts are, they also have faster infantry than the other civilizations, so they tend to be focused on raiding around. So Carnage actually putting a lot of pressure on Eery right now. Eery did bring over his priestess, which as I said can heal in combat. So all these healing what you see right now can also happen in combat. Many of the other civilizations priests can't heal in combat, they can only heal like right now when they're not fighting. So Carnage not gathering stone yet. So Eery already has his second town center, so he's pumping out villagers from 2 town centers. He's sitting at 27 villagers. Carnage did make these 3 fishing boats, which also count as villagers. He has 31 right now, so he's a small lead. Not sure if he killed any. Should probably focus on. I think there was a raid here which I missed. Okay, so no beer for cure. Carnage just might be going for a one-base strategy here. He already has 3 military buildings. He's adding the Sacred Grove, which will train the Druid. For now, he's just defending the middle pond. Oh, Eery, small mistake. He's just now getting a hand saw. Let's see if Carnage decided to get it. He already has it. Eery getting pickaxe as well, which Carnage does not have. So quite a scary force here coming in. It's a lot stronger than these cheaper Egyptian units. However, the longer the game goes on, the better it is for Eery, because he has a more economic build. He has 2 town centers. So for Eery, it's his task to defend and build up a force, because eventually he will have more villagers. Let's see, before Carnage was ahead by 4 villagers. Right now we're looking at 36 against 38, so Eery already taking the villager lead. So he will be gathering more resources. He's scouting around. I think he did a pretty good job scouting. Let's see what he knows. Never mind, he only knows about the 1 barracks. He probably needed a scout to scout raids. He's just checking around. So Eery keeping his resources really low, which is really nice. He's also making a lot of priestesses, which I really like. He could get this upgrade if he has a lot, which is really good. Which would give more healing. Ooh, we just need to manage them a bit better. And this army for Carnage now also contains a Druid, which is healing. And the Druid also applies a damage buff to the units it heals, which is unique to the Celtic civilization. So he's also attacking here, but Eery spotted it, so defends it with a few Axemen and 1 priestess. And Carnage is going in. I can't quite see the Druid. I think... Oh, here's 1 Druid. So it's really important if you're playing against a Celt that you use your town center to kill the Druids. And he is now. I think he did a pretty good job at doing that. This one druid that was in the middle of the army died pretty quickly. Because as soon as you can deny healing and the damage buff, the Celtic army loses a lot of its strength. So Carnage now going for a second town center. He did some damage, he got some stone. He's sitting at 43 villagers against the 38 for Eery. Sending a small raiding party out on the map. So no swan ship here for Carnage yet, so this middle pond is looking a little bit vulnerable, I feel. If Eery was to attack here, it would be hard to hold. Carnage is 25 population down right now, so he did do a little bit of damage, killing a few villagers of Eery, so that the villager count is now 43 for Eery against 46 for Carnage, and they now both have access to double villagers. So overall pretty even game now. I think Carnage is in a little bit of a difficult position here now because the middle pond is not that well defended. This is a much smaller army than this one. And Eery is coming in. A lot of the army of Carnage was here. Oh no. And I don't think this is going to be enough for Carnage. He does have his other group of infantry coming in now. So as soon as this front tank line dies, the melee units, the slingers can hit the other slingers, and they do have bonus against each other, so they can do a lot of damage to the other. So that's what's happening right now. The last two longswordsmen die, and there are still some X-Men left, so these slingers are going to do a lot of damage. Luckily the fishing boats tank some damage. And the Carnage just managed to hold. These X-Men in the meantime killed a house here. He's going to have to send back a few more units to deal with these. Overall nice hold for Carnage. He is still down 25 population. Eery is going for the Rex only build again, making only barracks. His little raiding force got sent away. Oh, that's okay, Thunder. Ask whatever you want. I've been playing this game for almost 8 years now, so I'd be happy to share some of my knowledge. There's probably a lot of players in the chat with even more knowledge, but I can give it a try. So a lot of slingers for Carnage. Let's see how many archery ranges he got. He has 4 here. 4 barracks. But these barracks units die a lot faster, so it's the slingers that remain. 7 priestesses in this army for Eery. At this point, you should definitely get this upgrade. Little raid in the wood line. It's gonna get shut down. The scout for Eery is gonna die as well. On the other side, Carnage is losing some villagers. Nice reaction time, but still loses at least 2 there. And he's sending his entire army over. He's still down in population, and he's also going to age 3. So kind of unlucky if he would have to engage right now, which lucky for him. Eery is going back, and there's goats in this army. So one nice thing about Age of Empires Online is that goats count as military units. So if you would drag a box like this, the goat would get selected in your army. Looks like you made a small mistake here, leaving these priestesses behind. Ooh, it's gonna be bad if he forgets that. There's still 1 in this army. So the goats are 4 speed, so they will bring your entire army to 4 speed. So Carnage did reach age 2. He's gonna pump out a lot of bowmen. He's building his 3rd town center here, which just might get denied by Eery. Does not see it yet. He's also pushing in here. Ooh, he does not see it. That's really lucky for Carnage. These priestesses got back in the army. So let's see how Carnage responds. He's just gonna sit in the middle, defend this. He is so lucky here. Okay, so Eery also went to H3. He built his temple to go there. Let's see, where's the temple? Here it is. He's also building a third town center, which will give him 20 more population. And this army for Carnage is looking a lot stronger now, and if he can hit the back of these slingers with his own slingers, ooh, that's gonna be really bad. So, as I said, the Celtic army is a bit faster. So, oh my god, this hurts. All these slingers are dead. The goats are in the army, no! It's moving at 4 speed. So, Eery getting owned by goats. I was wondering why his army was so slow. These goats were again in his army. So now they are converted to the red color. Just so many losses there. I think Eery was almost maxed. So he did get the champion X-Men upgrade in the meantime. But I feel there's a window now for Carnage, who is maxed. So let's quickly look at the upgrades. Is there an armory for? There is an armory. Whoops. So Eery has a really nice defensive position here. Carnage got 4 armory upgrades. He got every single H2 one. Eery has an armory right here, but he only has 2. The armory upgrade and the pierce attack. So these armory upgrades give 20% more damage or 20% more armor. So that's, well, if you imagine your units being 20% stronger, that's really good. Yes, Striker, I will try some Norse pronunciation. So a few X-Men here, but I think these 2 town centers will deal with it. A few military buildings going down for Eery. So let's see, did Carnage also get... No, he did not get Long Swordsman champion. His army is mainly a big ranged ball. Also does not have Slinger champion, which is not the best upgrade. It gives 50% bonus damage to villagers and 15% movement speed. But you want druids in your army, which will be 6 speed anyway. It does not have elder druids. So here's the sacred row. So this is a really important upgrade, which you unlock when you reach age 3 as the Celts. So Carnage does not really have a tank line, which allows these slingers, these 28 slingers, to directly hit into the range units. There are still a few longswordsmen left, so that's not really a problem, but having such a thin tank line can be scary. In the meantime, Carnage got a fort up on the left side of the map. He's making some ramps from them. And he is thinning down Eery's army. Looks like they're gonna engage again. Carnage is getting the pierce attack upgrade now. Whilst we're still at the same amount of upgrades. Actually, Eery got the melee attack. So these rams are coming in on 2 sides. Market being built. And Eery is down to 120 population to the 165 of Carnage. His bank is completely depleted, his villagers are idle. He's trying to build a tower to get some gold over here, but it's not going to be enough. He's got to tap out. So GG right there, and it's going to be a 1-0 to CG Carnage. So let's spin the wheel again to see what the map for game 2 will be. So it's going to be Treasure Island. Let me first tell the guys the map. Eery is commenting on the goats in his army. Yeah, that was a big thing. Okay, so we have Treasure Island for the next map. Let's see. Alright. So pretty good game. We saw some different approaches to the start. Eery going for a second town center while the Carnage went for the dock. His fishing boats did get killed, so he did not finish the fishing here. So if you take a look at the villager population, Carnage being ahead at the start a little bit because he could build fishing boats. Then Eery pulled up. But since Carnage did not have a second town center, he was able to push in and actually kill quite a lot of villagers. I kind of missed this. Hold on. Still need to learn the civs. So Carnage was actually behind in villagers for most of the game, but he had a bigger army. He lost a surprising amount to all these raids. I'm just talking to the players right now. So you see some horizontal lines here, which means that Carnage did not build any. He was happy sitting at 68 villagers, which meant that his army was just absolutely huge. He had a massive range ball with which Eery was just not able to deal with. Eery's economy was kind of all over the place. It was also down in upgrades, so if you take a look at the techs, not many techs for both players actually, only 10 against 9. 10 for Carnage, 9 for Eery. Many economic upgrades that both players could have. Oh my god. Hold on, guys. Okay, so, sorry. I have to sort out some things with the players here. Yeah, so Carnage did gather a little bit more, which is surprising, I think. Considering he was down in villagers for, I would say, most of the game, especially at the end. It's like a 30 villager difference almost. Let's see if Eery had a lot of idols, which he did actually. The last 3 minutes of the game, he consistently had like an average of 10 villagers idle, which, or a bit less than that. So kind of, both players kind of falling apart at the end. I mean, there was a lot of things going on, so I can't blame the players. What else do we want to look at? Current buildings, maybe the army sizes. So Carnage having a bigger army at the start, and then he kind of lost an engagement. And I think it all went downhill at this point. The 15-minute mark where there were goats in Eery's army. And he just lost his entire army for free, basically. I mean, Carnage suffered no loss at all. And then Carnage constantly had a bigger army and he was just able to capitalize on that. And overall, oh, this is huge actually. Carnage killing almost twice the amount of units of Eery. Wow. Right, so good game. Let's go to Treasure Island. Kira says, I clearly saw Carnage sending those goats to the retreat path of Eery. That's actually a legit strategy to use, to just sending goats in the opponent's army. Alright, let's head back. So this is 1-0 for Carnage. We are playing on Treasure Island and we have the Persians for Eery playing against the Greeks for Carnage. So interesting pick by Carnage here, I would say. I mean, the Greeks were the very first civilization in Age of Empires Online, and as a result, everyone has played them so much that nowadays people just want to try the different civs, the newer ones, so that the Greeks are not played as much as they used to be. So I haven't seen much Greeks from him at all, actually, over the last year. But he just picked them now. The Greeks have proven to be very strong in this tournament so far. I mean, I remember the game from Soldier against Carnage a few days ago, where we just saw hoplites tanking pierce damage for days. So both players going for barracks right now. So I'm just checking the chat. Chenla in the chat. Everyone's talking about the goats. Yeah, goats are for sure double agents. They just change sides. They're like a triple spy. Right, so Carnage sending a scout over. He does see the barracks for Eery. Eery committed 2 villagers to building this barracks, so he wants to get his spearmen up really fast. Carnage only has 1 villager on the barracks, so it will go up a little bit later. However, he will have 1 villager gathering. So he has 6 villagers on this hunt. He's going for the second hunt. Once he gets to 50 wood for that storehouse, which is right now, he will place it down. So there's already a Sparabara crossing the map. And the first spearman for... oh, there's already one here. The second spearman for Carnage is on the right side, protecting his first hunt. However, the Sparabara are going to the second hunt. We do again have goats on this map, so potentially some very slow armies. Does Eery know about this? He does. Good scouting by Eery. Also good reaction time by Carnage. He has a scout right here. He knows about this hunt. I think he even saw the spearman for Carnage leave. But he is sending all his Sparabara over to the top side. Okay, so the Persian Sparabara, they don't have the best damage, but they are kind of a ranged tank unit. So they have a lot of pierce armor. So if they were to get inside the town center range, they could tank a lot of damage. Greek spear are more your standard spearmen. High multiplier against cavalry units. Average HP damage. Ooh, so Eery only had 1 hunt and he had 8 villagers on it, so this hunt is gonna run out now. And he also has to focus on this spearman battle. He does have a second hand already. So he's gonna send 4 of his villagers to there. The rest of the villagers go to the wood line. So 7 villagers on 1 hunt. Which is alright. Same hunt transition has to happen now for Carnage. Carnage is actually going to H2 right now. He already is gathering stone. Same for Eery actually. But Carnage already almost has the 300 stone he needs for the town center. Eery not going to H2 anytime soon it seems, so it's kind of the same situation as the last game. This villager is half HP. However, really nice reaction time. Carnage is thankfully harvesting the goat. Oh, he actually sniped the storehouse. Okay, so in H2 the Greeks have access to the high pass pit unit, which is an anti-infantry unit. But the Persians don't have that, so this transition to H2 is a lot smoother for the Greeks because they can just include these high pass pits, which are anti-infantry, in their army. And there's no way that Eery can engage this with high pass pits in there, I would say. There's only one right now. Also not a second one trained because Carnage doesn't have the gold. It actually is still alive. And it's doing 30 DPS compared to the 11 DPS, so it's doing like triple damage compared to a spearman. There are some Sparrow that snuck by here. Are able to deny the wood gathering completely. Gonna get the storehouse maybe. One very low villager being a hero. If he notices it and he's going for it. Ooh, we are kind of lagging a little bit. Seems like Carnage is dropping. I'm not sure what's going on. Could have lost his connection. So what happens now is, I'm not sure. Both Eery and Carnage are admins in the tournament. I'm not, so I'm just gonna let them decide. See if this means that Eery gets a win, or maybe we restart the map. So I'm gonna go back to the other screen. Just maybe take another look at the brackets while we wait. Let's play some music. Actually, let's play my favorite Age of Empires song. Okay, so Carnage is back. His internet dropped. These things happen. Okay, so it looks like we're going for a rematch. Already, so the song didn't even finish. And yeah, cuz I'm just I'm just trying to explain the units. So that when the players are so when people that are not really familiar with the game look at the game, they kind of know what's going on. So let me know if that's helpful, if you guys don't want to know that the Hypa is an anti-infantry infantry unit. I can leave that out. And I'll probably get a bit more hyped as the game, as the series progresses, depending on how close it gets. But overall, I'm a calm guy. Let's remove this stuff. Yes. This time we're playing on a green treasure island. So that's the exact same thing. You already know all the technical details, so I'm not going to bore you with that. It's going to be interesting to see whether the players go for the same strategy. Do they rush a barracks, or do they perhaps go for a dock? So Carnage's internet is a little bit unstable. So this may happen again. And they're both admins, so I'll just let them sort it out and hope it doesn't get too annoying. So it looks like there's going to be a barracks. Carnage building a hunt storehouse, then gathering wood from his strangler trees. Same thing for Eery, so they're going to do the same thing again. Thieves2K has but one question. Why was Treasure Island named the way it was? I honestly don't know. Okay, so both players do have access to a restart in the first 2 minutes of the game. So we haven't seen it exercised that much so far. However, they can do this every game. So Eery using his restart. He thought his hunts were too far away from his town center. I should probably be checking the balance of the map a bit better than I am doing right now. But overall, Treasure Island is a very solid map. Spawns fine every time, I would say. If you're not happy with your map, you can always do this. So this is the third attempt. We do have the Treasure Island right here. It's looking kind of empty right now. So actually, to answer your question, I have no idea why this is called Treasure Island. Doesn't look like much of an island to me. I mean, you can get these trees also, the exact same trees that are next to your town center, so... So let's look at the hunts now. This is his second hunt, so it's also... I think Eery is kind of blaming... He's not happy with calling a restart because this second hunt is quite far from his town center. There may be a better one here. Sometimes you can see it from the ground. This one here. Yeah, so for instance, if resources... You can't see resources unless they are scouted by one of the players. So it's likely that there will be something here, maybe a hunt or a berry patch. Because the ground, these small rocky things, it's kind of hard to explain, but basically only the trees you can see at the start of the map, which may be an explanation for why the treasure island is not looking very treasury right now. Kunuro in the chat says, because it's an island with treasures. That would make a lot of sense. Would make a lot of sense. We'll see, maybe one of the players decides to make a duck. For now they're going with the same strategy we've been seeing in the first and second try. It looks like this may be the final time that we're gonna restart this, because we are past the 2-minute mark, so Carnage cannot call for a restart himself. And he has no reason to do so, his spawn is fine. So again, quite lucky scouting for Eery, scouting the second hunt of Carnage. We're kind of the exact same situation as last game. He scouts the second hunt, he sends his Sparabara over. Only this time he's able to deny it. The 2 spearmen are coming to help, but ooh, this was a very brave villager. He's just gonna deny, or gonna cancel the storehouse, but it may cause some trouble, and he does realize that, so he's going for storehouse in between this stone and stone mine and berry bush, which is not the best storehouse. I think it's inefficient gathering for both resources, but who am I? So Carnage, his build is kind of getting messed over by this rush. So already quite an effective Sparabara rush. There are some wolves here, so some lions here. So this Sparabara has already lost 70 HP. So we're looking at 6 Sparabara against 5 spearmen. So these Sparabara do have a little bit less damage, 9 damage against 11. And only 10 more HP, so 5 spearmen should be more than enough. Looks like we're gonna have a multi-pronged attack here, so he's also checking the second hunt. However, Carnage went for the berries. He did not get the berry upgrade, which would be another 75 wood investment. He's just gonna try to get to H2, get his town center up fast. And Eery looks like he may be doing some damage on the wood line of Carnage, causing a lot of lost gathering time. These villagers have to run away. Actually, very nicely, not running them to his town center, but instead making a small swoop to the left. And he's repairing the storehouse with 4 villagers, but I think it's not enough. Oh my god, he's repairing it so fast. Only just gets it. At the cost of only 2 Sparabara, because I think these spearmen were not focused on 1 Sparabara. There's a lot of them with low HP. So Carnage already has the stone, so these villagers that were gathering stone do not need stone anymore, so they're going for wood. See, these villagers are also going on the berries. So Carnage still needs a lot of wood. He also needs to get this Picker's Glove upgrade right now. So I think he will be getting both. His town center is going up only now, whilst Eery's town center is almost finished already. Eery getting Hanso a bit faster as well, so I'm liking Eery's position a bit more so far. However, Carnage is going back. I mean, Eery is killing a storehouse here with his remaining 4 Sparabara, but Carnage actually got a villager kill here, which is so important to get early game. So Kunuro asked why were they restarting again? Because every player has one restart for every game. Ooh, one villager dies on the other side. So every player can restart the game. And Eery did not think he had a nice second hunt. Carnage can easily deny this archery range. Not a very good decision by Carnage to build it here. And these Parabara are tanky, they can tank a lot of damage. Eery did get up a duck, which did get scouted. So Carnage getting quite lucky with the scouting. He's also building a duck. Do we see any other military buildings? We do see stables for Eery. And if Eery stays here, which he does, he can deny this as well. So Eery being really effective and also efficient with these Parabara. Killing another villager, so let's get a villager count. We're looking at 29 for Carnage to the 33 for Eery. But Eery is not training any villagers right now. Eery is actually also up in population by almost 10. So playing really well. Getting lots of things done with this Parabara. Initially made a lot of spearmen to kill these spears. So even though there's no cavalry on the map yet, these spearmen have a bit more DPS. And Carnage looks like he's not even going to make any stable units yet. He's going for double archery range. It's already an Asabara hitting his duck. And on the other side, Eery is making a second duck. He's trained 2 fishing boats. And for Carnage, the second trireme is already almost here, so that was a water fight. Not sure what these fishing boats are doing, or maybe Eery is gonna hide them even. He decides not to do so. He's gonna get it from here, which I think is smart. I mean, having these fishing boats here idle would be really annoying because they count as idle villagers and they would pop up every time. So Eery is not stopping. He has 4 Asabara. There's 1 spearman here and 4 Toxotes. If it wasn't for this 1 spearman, this Asabara could have done a lot of work. So 2 boats for Eery. He does have the second duck compared to Carnage, who only has 1 duck. So it looks like this third galley will pop out a little bit later, and we will have lots of action at the same time. So it's going to be hopping back and forth. So let's get ready for that. There's an army here as well, dancing around with the boats. He's not even going to bother defending his fishing boats. They're both dead, and I think Carnage did some damage. He's going back. Eery actually going all the way back with his galleys. He's gonna move in here. Oh, and Carnage was in the process of killing this hippo, which is now gonna be really far away from this storehouse. Luckily it was almost dead. There's 12 Toxotes, 7 spearmen, which are not champion yet. Carnage got a 4th boat, but he's not making any more. Eery has 4 boats, but he's making 2 more. So Eery looks like he might be on the offensive on both sides. He is up 20 population, making 2 archery ranges now at home. So we do have some bowmen added to this army, which do counter those spearmen. Carnage actually making farms, so he's he's feeling really confined to his base. He feels like he can't exit it, so he's actually already spent 700 wood. Taking some map control. He's gonna send his Asabara out again. Looks like he may go for the... No, never mind. He's gonna go here. He does have 6 galleys against the 5 for Carnage. He's not making any more. So no fishing boats for either player, just a large water battle. He's gonna sneak all the way around. And he's gonna go for a quick snipe on the duck. What a sick play this is, oh my god. This is actually insane. Okay, so this Asabara will have to tank a bit of damage. But he's gonna get it really easily. So by doing so, he kind of wins the water. He is losing all these Asabara right now though. Which is kind of a shame. He's making a bunch more galleys at home. But I think, yeah, he cancels the... Oh, he did not cancel the galleys. So he kind of has a few too many galleys now. Could have just trained fishing boats already. I think he just won the water by that play. It's really sick. It did cost him a few Asabara, however, he's up in population by 30 still. Is he ahead in villagers? 54 for him to 59 for Carnage, so no. Carnage is ahead in villagers. Do we have an armory for... Okay, I think that may explain the pop difference a little bit. Carnage already has an armory and he already has 3 upgrades. Unless I'm missing the Persian armory, which I don't think I am. Eery has no upgrades. But he did just win the water. So he's gonna make a lot of fishing boats and catch up in villagers. He's getting the first upgrade. And he's also gonna go H3 behind this. And we have no Sarah for Carnage, which is an interesting decision considering that there's now 25 bowmen. So Eery gonna go for a raid on the north side. He's gonna find these villagers. In the meantime, the rest of his army is gonna push this gold mine. So Carnage very nicely not sending his whole army, but instead splitting off 7 spearmen. And he's now gonna catch his army. He's splitting his army. He's going for the catch. Oh boy. However, Eery has a galley right here and he has a lot more galleys, so he could protect his army, which is really nice. Sabara sneaking by. Nice reaction time by Eery. Yeah, and remember, Eery was going to H2 behind this. He did build his armory finally, so he's just getting his first 2 upgrades right now. Carnage still has the 3. A Sabara champion is on the way, Sparabara champion is on the way. So Eery getting a lot more upgrades quickly. Carnage just now going to H3. He's maxed, both players are maxed. So let's see. Eery has 1,000 stone, so he could afford his town center. Actually, did he already place it down? He did just now. But he could also afford even 2 forts. It's Asabara on this side now. And ouch, you don't want to be next to the coast when there's galleys there. So Eery has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 galleys. One very low one. Which each take 3 population, so that's 18 population. So the villager count is equal at 61 to 62. The army for Carnage will be about 20 pop larger than the army for Eery, if they had access to the same amount of units, just because of those galleys taking up a lot of pop space. So Eery did get his 3rd town center, so he has access to 180 pop. So the armies will be equal size. And Carnage, if you look at his resources, he's building his town center, but he is taking up a lot of resources. For a moment I thought he was going straight to H4, but on second thought I don't think that's what he has planned. He just was not able to spend his resources. He could make an armory upgrade, but he needs stone. He has 0 guys on stone right now. Ooh. Carnage's army is kind of out of position here. He's cutting it nicely back. But there's a really nice flank here with Sabara. There's still 8 spearmen here to take care of them, but the Toxodis are melting. There were some Sparabara here to tank pierce armor, pierce damage. And this engagement is going a lot better for Eery than it is for Carnage. At least I thought so. Looks like they still have about the an equally sized army after that. Carnage was down in population a little bit, but I think Eery just queued army faster. Yeah, and as you can see, Eery is deciding to kill off some of these galleys, or only the one, for some more population space. He's actually gonna commit all his 5 galleys. He only has 4 fishing boats, which he's making more right now. So I think he definitely should. He's got some watch posts here. And both players will have to go a bit more out of their base to gather these gold mines. So this gold mine is almost halfway across the map. Ooh, the storehouse not built. It's kind of unfortunate long distance gathering here. So Carnage acknowledges the power of hoplites. He's got 9 in his army right now. The armies are kind of passing by each other. So if we were to have a base trade here, both armies are have a lot of pierce attack, so they won't be dealing a lot of damage to these buildings. I think the Toxodis champion upgrade for Carnage was cancelled. And wow, Eery does not have Bowman champion, which he should get right now, I feel. Carnage is just stacking up resources. He could sell off some stuff and buy some stone and go to H4. He's actually gonna run all the way back while this army is killing his buildings. These hoplites do have a slight multiplier against Cav. So Carnage, okay, so the Bowman champion is being researched. Carnage going H4 right now. But he will have to defend. Actually, Eery is going back. He's doing a lot of damage. Carnage is now at 53 villagers only, against the 74 for Eery, so a lot of villagers killed. And there's more dying. He's not garrisoning them back. 48, 47. Looks like even more will die. Sabara champion are not to be underestimated. Did get that storehouse there. 8 fishing boats. Well, this is really smart by Eery. He's gonna make some ramps, but he's gonna build them next to the coast where he has the protection from his galleys. There's also a market line right here. And Eery does know about it. So because the gold is a bit harder to gather at this later stage of the game, players will have to rely on this market line for their gold. So if Eery is able to deny this easily with ramps, it might be huge. But right now, Carnage can get it from here. He also has a second gold mine just about to run out right here. And he did get to H4 and he's building some ballista, but he's gonna engage before that. Which it looks like he's getting a pretty nice engagement here. We do have a few Takabara in the army for Eery. And once again, Carnage shooing away Eery. I feel like there's a nice window for Carnage right now. Whereas Eery is nowhere close to H4 and he already has the ranged siege. Both armies are still mainly big range balls which just melt to these ballista. There's 2 more coming. And he's just gonna go for it. So these ramps did get made. These hoplites do not have a bonus against ramps, unfortunately. So it will take some time to kill them. Karn is actually building a market here. I think he meant to make a fortress. He's gonna be surprised once he sees there's a fortress here. Or maybe it was a market and he's just already preparing to lose this. These rams are doing a little bit of damage, killing some houses. Population blocking Eery. Oh, and this is actually huge. Eery is catching these freshly made ballista. Second one also on the way. So this is really bad for Carnage. Losing so many resources. There's only 1 ballista here. There's 2 more here which need to be here. So this ballista cost 460 resources. I mean, if you look at the end of the post-game stats, you will see like, I think about now players will have gathered like 60,000 resources mainly, so there's only like 120 ballista. So picking off just a few is actually quite huge. So the treasure has been scouted. Almost getting a pick on that ballista. What is Eery gonna do? He did get H4 himself now. He's building up his town center. He did deny the market. This market is actually used for trading, which is a really neat idea. Eery is not even gonna bother killing it. He has to come back. He has to defend his base. Oh, and it's gonna be all about how well Carnage can protect his siege. Right now it's not going well. 1 ballista is going down, 2 ballistas going down. This one is safe, but it looks like only 1 ballista will survive this. Actually, the second one survives as well with 30 HP. And these ranged units are not what you want to have right now. They're just gonna die really quick. Eery behind, 30 population. Let's see, are there more ram raids? There is this defensive party. So if everything goes south, there is one really nice thing that Eery can do, which is build a wonder on the island. It looks like one might actually fit without gathering any resources right here. 1 town center does go down. There's a single villager building a fort right here, which is gonna take like 3 minutes. Actually, can I see that from here? I think so. 180 seconds, yeah. So 3 minutes. Oh, actually, you got some help. 15 villagers building a fort, so it's gonna be like Norse infantry speed. Pumping up that fortress. So Eery is capped at 180. He did get a lot more cav units, which is what he needs right now. This army only has 2 spearmen and 9 hoplites. Is he gonna go for the deny of the fortress? He is, and the fortress will go down. You can see the HP bar, but I selected it there. So no anti-cav really for Carnage. And these ballista are just crossing the map, but they're not safe. So this army is also has 2 cataphracts, which are just gonna tank this damage. Let's take a look at the upgrades. Getting the surround. So taking a quick look at the upgrades. Eery has every single H3 upgrade. Carnage has every single H2 upgrade, so he's down 4 armory upgrades. So that may explain why these cav units were able to tank so much damage. They had better upgrades. So all the ballista go down. There are some more on the way. Actually, there's some spearmen here. So Carnage able to save a few of these units. He does have the fortress here. Eery needs a fortress of his own to be able to make range siege. He's not doing anything with this siege workshop right now. So both players lost quite a lot of their army, but they are at about the same population now. However, Carnage is at 61 villagers, so that explains why Eery was able to afford all these upgrades. He just has 20 more villagers. So looks like Carnage just has to spend his resources on more units now. This market line is only a 56 gold market line, which is also not ideal. So his economy is in a really bad place, so he really can't afford to lose these ballistae like this. Should maybe have made a forward siege workshop, because going all the way across the map like this, there's another one coming. May not be good. Eery is looking here. It looks like he needs to micro his fishing ships into a better spot. We're killing all the caravans. So because Carnage did not make a single stable, he has no fast units to defend against these raids. Not sure why he's doing that, because the Greek army has prodromos, which are just really good anti-cavalry units, which completely shut down this. It looks like he's just going to lose all his economy. He's going to send off a few units, but there's... oh my god. All 2 Palantonans and 1 ballista goes down here. He's fighting with half his army here. He has to defend here, but Eery can just run away. Eery is maxed, and Carnage is still sitting at 150 population, so it's looking really good for Eery. He has 4 ramps coming in here. They're gonna take down the town center. On the other side, he's just running away from this army, which is just really slow. There is this slight force, and the fortress is still up, but Carnage is just gonna tap out. He was at only 58 villagers. He could not defend this raid as well. He was gonna lose all his town centers, almost. So Eery equalizing the series to a 1-1. Let's check what the new map is going to be. So for game 3 we're going to equal footing. So let me quickly edit all this stuff. While I get the civilizations for the next map. Alright, so let's take a look at these stats. So both players went for a fast town center, I believe, and then there was a small battle. Looks like Eery was actually thinking about going on the island and collecting this treasure, but did not need to. He won the game before that. So taking a look at the current villager population, it was quite equal until about 17 minutes into the game, where Carnage just lost a lot of villagers. I'm not sure where this was. Oh, I don't remember the push. But after that, Carnage was never really able to get back into the game. He did not make more villagers than 60, which may be a bit too low. I know he likes to play this low villager count, but 60 is definitely too low, I would say. Look at the current military population. Carnage was really dominant for a long time, so this counts every unit as one. So these cavalry units from Eery, which count as 2 population, count as 1 here. So you should imagine him being a little bit higher. But overall, these were quite equal. We did not see a lot of battles that were really one-sided. I mean, Carnage did catch Eery in the middle here quite nicely, but then Eery was able to retreat to his boats. So because of the higher villagers, Eery was able to gather 16,000 more. He also got 10 more techs. And as I said, yeah, the fighting was quite equal, but because Eery had the better economy, maybe also some better upgrades, he was it was more in his favor to just trade units. So let's head into the next game. So we are on equal footing, and we have a Celts against Egypt game. So it's the same matchup as game 1, only that now Eery is playing the Celts and Carnage is playing Egypt. So as I said, in game 1, both players are really familiar with these civilizations and with this matchup. And also this map is probably the most commonly played map in Age of Empires Online, just because it spawns a lot of resources. As you can see, there's lots of food here. So Eery is making sure whether the map is balanced. So let's take a quick look at the hunts. We have a back hunt and a gold mine here, and we do have these hippos, I guess. Where is the second hunt for Eery? I think there's gonna be a hunt a bit more in the front. Yeah, I'm not gonna call a restart over this hunt being here. Yeah, I'm just gonna say yes, the map is good. Even though Carnage may have a little bit of a better spawn, this hunt being quite close to the town center, and he has a back hunt. Here he does have this. Yeah, so maybe a little bit better spawn for Carnage, but nothing to restart the game over. I mean, look at all these hippos. There's just 2,000 food here. Where are the hippos for Carnage? There's 2 here. Yeah, 2 in the middle of the map. Alright. So Carnage going for a fast H2. He's gathering some stone already. He's going to look to get a second town center fast. Eery made a barracks. And well, the Egyptian scout does a lot of damage to these units. She's trying to avoid the lion. It's not quite succeed in doing so. But this Egyptian scout will do a lot of damage to the spearman. And he's already at 90 HP. I will keep him selected. So it looks like he will knock Carnage off this hunt. So he's already sending the priestess back. The villagers go back, there's no point in repairing this. He's gone for the economy route. He already has a storehouse here, which is a really nice 2-for-1 storehouse. So the priestess here is going to boost the drop-off for both these villager groups. And moreover, the priestess also allows the stone mine to be converted a bit better, so it will deplete slower, that's what I'm trying to say. So I think it's 25%, so that if you are gathering from this stone mine, which says 1000 stone, it will actually be 1250 stone. And oh my god, Eery is going in, he knows the timing for the town center. He's done this so many times in the past where he's cancelled the town center. But it looks like he might have missed his timing, and Carnage is smartly committing lots of villagers to this town center. He cannot save his wood storehouse. But Eery cannot deny the town center either. So a little bit of damage done by Eery, but it might not be enough. However, the spearmen are still alive. He may still get things done. He's H2 himself right now. He's only got a little bit of stone, so he's only just begun gathering the stone. He's actually building an archery range. He may have had a little bit too much wood, so he's deciding to go a bit more aggressive, keeping Carnage in his base. He's leaving one spearman on this back hunt, which is really smart, making sure Carnage is not on this hunt. Did he spot his barracks going up? He did not. Carnage building it really safely close to his first town center. Carnage, Romerito in the chat asked whether Carnage used the Celtics, and yes, he did win with Celtics in game 1 on Oasis. Eery actually adding a second archery range, only keeping the 2 villagers on stone. He's getting a larger infantry force. He already has 3 longswordsmen in this army, with a 4th one on the way. Let's see, what can he do here? He can maybe deny some military buildings. His scout is on the left here. Did not scout any military buildings, he's just looking around the base, trying to see if he can deny anything. Right now he cannot. So Carnage does not have a second priestess yet for his town center, so these villagers will train at 18 seconds, whilst for this town center it's 16. Carnage scout just scouted the archery range. Looks like Eery tried to push in. I don't think he got a villager, or there would be a corpse there. I think. Let's get a villager count. 30 for Carnage against 25 for Eery. So this second town center allows Carnage to make villagers faster, so he will have a better economy. However, will he be able to get outside of this base? He's trying to go for this hunt, but there's a spearman there, sending over 1 X-Men to counter that. However, Eery is sending over his entire force here. With some more units coming through the middle. Saving this spearman really nicely. Now Carnage is trying to go for this hunt. Where's the scout for Eery? Sitting right here. So he's doing a nice job keeping him in his base. He killed this 1 X-Men. He's gonna deny a house. And in the meantime he's building up a force in the south. Carnage will be able to hold up this force. I think Eery should run here. He's focused on his base. However, there's a second force which will be able to deny this hunt. So Carnage, he needs food. He has 10 gatherers of food right now, and they are all on this berry bush. Actually, unlucky, they're dropping off here. So they are not using the boost from the priestess. He could delete the storehouse, but then there's no storehouse for the stone mine. So he does have enough units right now to get this food, which is good because there's only, let's see, there's only like 400 food left. So he needs food quick. He's able to get it. He's able to go here on this hunt. So in the nick of time, he's able to get the food he needs. He's sitting at 42 villages right now to the 32 for Eery. Eery only now building his town center, so it's really late town center. So he should have a larger army, but it doesn't look like he does. His macro is kind of off. There's 1,000 food in the bank 8 minutes into the game. Which is not ideal. There were 2 slingers here, let's see what they were doing. Yeah, they're gonna deny some gold gathering. Maybe he's sending them to the hunt. Ooh!
Behold the chosen one.
Thanks for the follow, Pirust. Here we did get a villager there. And I mean Carnage got a villager there. And Eery does not have many villagers. Carnage actually built an armory pretty early into the game. These slingers are actually getting some villager kills here. Armory goes down. Carnage is not noticing this, so 3 villagers here. There's also a raid here. These villagers got away safely. So the defending force for Carnage is 13 slingers. His main army is right here. Looks like Eery's killing all these villagers. So we saw 1 villager go down here. 3 down here for Carnage. So he's at 49 right now to the 37 for Eery. Eery did get his town center up, but Carnage has a significant lead. I think he knows this and that's why he's going for upgrades so early. He's gonna get that armory up in the safer position. He's committing quite hard to killing this wood line. He's killing a villager or 2 even. 1 survives. Is able to get out with most of his army, but it looks like Eery might be looking to trap this army. It's sitting right here. He's going with half his army on the top side. The other half is here. This is not looking good. He's getting sandwiched completely. So, ouch, 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 ouch. I think they're all dead. So Carnage, he was down in army. And a really big pickup here by Eery. So only 8 X-Men survived that. He knew he shouldn't engage that, so he was running away and lost like 30 units there. He's also going to age 3 behind this. I mean, he does have the economy lead, but with this huge losses suffered, maybe this is not something he can afford. An armory and an H3. He's getting pierced attack. May think about getting like a tower in his base because there's a push coming. So Carnage 10 villagers ahead. 20 supply behind. 20 supply behind. So his army is 30 pop smaller. He does have the upgrade and he is H3 already, so he got that up really fast. And he's getting his X-Men champion upgrade, which is just gonna completely change the tides, making X-Men do splash damage. And ouch! That's a lot of villager deaths right there. This one lives to tell the tale.
Behold the chosen one.
I think for the follower alert I was able to see who it was, but this one does not work. So thanks for something, I don't know what it was. What is it? I hope it wasn't a donation like the last game. So last series I casted, someone donated $10 and I said thanks for the follow. So thanks regardless. So X-Men champion are done. I think Eery may notice it. I know Eery likes to click his opponent's units and quickly check the upgrades. So we can be pretty sure that he knows that X-Men champion are finished. There are still some units in the back here that went around. There's lots of the economy of Carnage here. Sending over 10 slingers to the 12 here. The rest of Eery's army is just pushing in the middle. But there are X-Men champion. Very nice kiting away. So villager count 57 to 58. So Eery completely able to close the villager gap with all these villager kills he's been getting. He's still down 10 population. He does have X-Men champion, but you don't want to be running straight at a slinger ball. Ideally, you would like to get a flank and then just deal massive damage. Which we have seen Carnage this series have some nice flanks, so just gonna go and attack. Eery cannot fight this straight up because these X-Men will just demolish his army. And ooh, he had the slingers in the back. These longshoremen should be on the other side, tanking the ranges, because if these slingers hit the other slingers, well, you saw what happened. This happens. But Eery has another trick up his sleeve. He did lose a big chunk of his army there. I mean, Carnage with all his experience, he knows exactly when he can punish a player for that. He's just gonna push out now. He's gonna secure this gold with a fortress. He's going in the middle of the two armies. I think Eery saw him coming, he's going back. He's gonna send a raid around. No walls for either player. Is this a live game? Yes. We do have a 2-minute delay on the stream, so I'm speaking to you from the future. But that's just to prevent the players from looking at the stream and seeing what you are seeing. And you do have to be a spectator to look at the game. So that's not something like, I think in Counter-Strike there's a function where you can just join and spectate any game.
Behold the chosen one.
No such thing here. Once again, thanks for the something. I thought I set this up. Ooh, Carnage dealing with this really well. Some champion X-Men right on top of the slingers, and he got a lot of villager kills at the base of Eery, who is now at 63 villagers to the 69 for Carnage. And I think this is about the villager count that Carnage likes to sit on. He's gonna make a few more villagers. And then just gonna make a massive army. So, double armory in the back for Eery. No upgrades yet. Carnage has pierce attack and his armor upgrades. He's gonna make a siege workshop here. So he has his army here, but decides to go back. He did get Slinger champion as well, which is really nice. Oh, and there are some Road Raiders right now. Let's go! Let me get the 2 minute. Look in the chat 2 minutes ago. I got the Eery boat emote going for this. Ooh, Carnage spotting out this gold mine on the left. Road Raiders are spotted, but they are faster. They're 9 speed compared to the 7 speed. And oh my god, when I just looked there were a lot less villagers here. So let's see what gold options does Eery actually have. This gold mine is camped by a fort. This gold mine has some units on it. The army from Carnage was just here, so just gonna quickly secure this gold mine. And is that his only gold mine? He has 0 villagers on gold right now. Oh my god, I'm missing a massive battle. So keep in mind, Eery cannot replenish his army right now. Carnage is kiting really nicely. He does have 20 slingers here, but he also has 17 bowmen. But no, Carnage has no tank line, so I think his ranged bow might just melt. They're doing surprisingly well. And these slingers do have an instant attack animation, so you can kite really effectively with them. And he's actually able to deal with that battle quite well. He is ahead in upgrades, keep that in mind. But Eery still does not have any gold. His fortress is only now done. He's going for 14 villagers on this gold mine, but he's down 50 population and there's elephants in the game. This Carnage's favorite unit. So I expect to see a lot of these. He's already got a second one on the way. And there's a window for him right now where Eery is just struggling for resources. He has 14 villagers on this one gold mine. Carnage doing a really nice job of keeping tabs on this gold mine. Eery actually trained a ram. It's an interesting decision. So Carnage is going to split up his army. Half of it is going to go here. The other half is going to go in this gold mine. And let's see how Eery deals with this. This one ram is going to cause a nice distraction. So about half the army of Eery is going this way. Sending his other half very nice to deal with this. He's going to repair the fort. The elephant actually already dies. He was taking the fort damage. This force did not get that much done except distract half of the army. So not a very successful multi-pronged attack. But he did get some information about the gold gathering of Eery. So he scouted this gold mine, he has a watch post here right now, he knows that this is the only gold mine that Eery has. If he can control the gold mines, then he's going to be in a really good position. Eery did build a market at his base just to sell off some resources to get a little bit of gold, but look at his bank, it's just really low. He can afford one armory upgrade, his first one, 20 minutes into the game. He's going to try and build this, sending over 5 villagers to build here a storehouse. But it's just down so many upgrades. Look at Carnage's armory, which I have selected right now. He has the H3 armor, he has the H3 melee damage. He's really far out on upgrades, which is also why this fight just went so well for him. And Eery, his bank is low. He is able to gather here. But he realizes he's in a bad position and he was not able to hold this. So Eery tapping out. Carnage making it 2-1. He was actually going to H4 as well. I see Undercover Carrot said in the chat that he was gathering a lot of resources. I missed it. He even was able to afford H4 behind all of this. Really impressive. Actually, let's do it here first. 2-1 for Carnage. So we will see a game 4. This. Spin the wheel. So we will see another game on Treasure Island for game 4. Let me just quickly so let's fix this. 2-1 for Carnage. Let's go back and take a look at these stats. So Carnage, yeah, we saw him getting a second town center right after aging up. He went town center first, which is quite standard nowadays. Eery playing a bit non-standard, going for a larger army, which we should be able to see here. We actually don't see it. He did do a lot of damage at the start, so I felt like he was doing damage, but looking at this current villager graph, Looking at this current villager graph, it does not look like Carnage was set back that much. He lost a few here and there, and at the 30-minute mark, Eery was able to equalize the villager count. But over this entire period, Carnage was just able to gather so many more resources. Yeah, and as we saw here, Eery was not really able to have that much of a larger army. He did have for a few minutes, and then at around the 30-minute mark he was able to kill a lot of villagers, but in the process losing a lot of his army. So by the time they were equal villagers, Carnage's army was just so much larger, and looked like Carnage was just from there just capitalized on that. So Carnage only gathering 3k more. I was looking at the wood gathered graph and I was like, what the hell, only 12,000 gathered in the entire game? So he had a few more villagers, he gathered a bit more resources. He also got a few more techs, and important techs as well. His armory was just so much better than Eery's. I mean, Eery, he had a nice armory, but he just did not have any upgrades. He didn't have the druid upgrades. Did not have any upgrades on his stables. Oh, so we're going into game 4, which means that the players will not be able to play their preferred civilizations, which is always really fun when they have to go for civilizations that they don't normally play, because the tournament rules state that you can't play a civilization twice in a series. Okay, so let's take a final look at these stats. Yeah, Carnage has more attacks, and he was able to get some better traits. Very nice, nicely capitalizing on him having a larger army. He took great control of the gold mines, and Eery only had this basically. So if he did not resign, I'm sure Carnage would have denied this. All right. So let's get into the next game, guys. It's 2-1 for Carnage. I think we have some Norse music playing in the background. We are seeing the Norse being played once again. Norse performing really well in this tournament. They used to be unbeaten, like 100% win rate for Norse, and only picked at the later stages of the series. And Carnage has been doing really well with them. I know he does not really like them, he thinks they're really strong. So he will be able to demonstrate his strength. On the other hand, we have Eery going for Babylon. Could have picked Norse himself. I think both players only have... oh yeah, they have Babylon... Eery has Babylon, Norse and Greeks left. And I think Carnage had Babylon, Norse and Persia left. So not going for Persia. I might be wrong, but no, I'm pretty sure that yeah. So he's going for Norse instead of Persia. Which is a really interesting decision. I did kind of miss his starting build, which is a shame. Wanted to know whether he started on wood or not. So this is going to be hard. Eery is going to do the Babylon Spear Rush, which means getting a barracks out really quickly, because you have an ox cart. you can gather the trees next to your town center and get enough wood for a barracks really quick. So there's already a spear here. There's some wolves helping Carnage, and this spear has to turn back. To join with his friend and try again. So North does have 2 scouts. Carnage did make 2 spears of his own. He's actually gonna run out. I mean, he did already so much damage to the spearman, it's almost dead. So these scouts are a little bit weaker, with 3 DPS and 3 DPS. But combined, actually, yeah, so I'm selecting Eery Scout here, which has 4 DPS. These are 2 times 3 DPS, so the combined scouts do a lot more damage. So he is spending his scouts to deal with these spearmen, so he's not scouting the map, but he's completely denying this spear rush. I mean, he's actually going to send in his own spearmen. So the North spearmen, really tanky, 260 HP. I mean, the Babylon spearmen are also quite tanky. 10 DPS compared to 11. And he's actually gonna go in here. So he's distracting Eery by hitting with his scout. But actually Eery notices it really quickly. He's going to send his spearmen over, and whilst the Babylon Civ is able to just retreat with their ox carts, these storehouses are going to stay in place, so just going to have to run away the villagers. Oh, but there was a house outside of town center range which he can deny. Maybe not the best placement for the start of the game. Yeah, he's placing this inside of town center range. Learned his lesson. Carnage is using his 2 scouts as one. I love this. He's like, fuck using 2 different hotkeys for 2 scouts. I'm just gonna group them together. That's so great. I've never seen anyone do that before. Because it does get hard to manage all your scouts, and you have to sacrifice another hot control group for it. So Carnage already has the stone for town center. This is what he likes to do. Go for a fast town center. And once again, he has just a better build than Eery in terms of early game. In Eery, he did lose a house, I guess, and maybe some walking time. Actually, the Carnage also had to run away with these villagers and lost the storehouse. Yeah, it looks like Eery got a little bit too much food. He was already throwing X-Men, able to defend. And these wolves are just killing the army of Eery. Oh my god. It's the scout group. I'm going to put them in the same control group as well. Because why not? Oh god, I love this so much. Oh, really nicely able to. Look at this micro. He's just not sending them in the back, he's splitting his damage. Actually leaving this one alive. So 1 lives to tell the tale. He's like, don't go there, boys. They have big axes. Does he? I don't think he will actually. What a hero. Okay, this is getting 1 hint off, and he's now just gonna scout around here. Eery's scouting the coast to see if Carnage is building a dock, but instead Carnage is building a stable at home, so we will have raiders already, which is gonna be great. Eery himself making his stables in an archery range, so going for the Babylon 111. One of each military building. The scouts are just going on adventures, man. Checking behind these trees for hidden treasures, but little do they know the treasures are actually on the island. There's actually a second stable here, so we're gonna have double stable for the Norse player, which is gonna be just lots of raiding. I'm going to have to pay a lot of attention to not miss any raids. So Eery is just gonna make gardens in his base, get a good economy, which is what the Babylon Civ does. So these gardens reduce training time and research time, so units will train faster, upgrades will research faster. I'm sure all of you in the chat know. Let me check who is in the chat actually. Yeah, I'm seeing mainly familiar faces, so I will keep these explanations on the minimum. There's already raiders here. One villager down to very low HP. Eery has his own lancers. Looks like they were just scouting the coast. I'm gonna deal with these raiders now. He's looking for them. The scouting group. They also share the same HP, so if one is low, the other one is also low. So adding his third and fourth garden to be kept at 4 gardens for H2. It's actually already quite a nice army for Eery. This is the army for I meant Carnage. This is the army for Eery. There's 10 bowmen already. These lancers are now 4. Looks like they're gonna go back. Let me actually remove this. So populations of both players are quite equal. It's got a villager count, 47 for Carnage to the 45 for Eery. Eery also has 4 gardens, which gather 1 food every 2 seconds, but the ox carts also count as villagers, so I think the economy for Carnage is a little bit in a better shape right now. Actually, I'm not sure. Gardens are good. It's going quite equal so far. And Carnage already has an armory already so early. So I guess this is just what he likes to do. Like at 8-9 minutes he's building his armory. Last game he was really adding upgrades. Here he is, killing villagers. This ox cart may go down. Ooh, 33 HP, he's gonna commit to it. He's actually not looking, ooh. Losing a lot of his units there. It's unfortunate. I mean, he did get the ox cart, but it was not worth it, I think. Kill the villager. Here he's gonna make a duck. Our 2 pals may notice though. The lancers are in the wood line. And these throwing axemen are just gonna do nothing to these lancers. Look at that, they're just tickling them. Spearman he should run away from though. I don't think you can fight this. Maybe you can. But the raiders are coming. There's already 14 raiders on the field. Catching them really nicely. Let's see, Eery does not have the pharmacology upgrade, so these lancers will not heal up over time. And Carnage, once again, going H3 and also building an armory. Which I once again have the feeling about it may be a bit too much. He's 35 population behind, he's spending his resources on the upgrades, which are good. He's getting a second armory upgrade. Looks like he used his own military hotkey there, so the scouts are now part of the army. He may have scouted the duck in the meantime. He did. But he's also going H3, so spending a lot of resources, and he's gonna take a fight in front of his base. Getting a nice flank on the bowman. Pretty good micro. There's no real spearmen. The bowman count is going down really fast. His own spearmen are demolishing the lancers. but the Raiders are just not able to completely narrow down the bowman count. But with a smaller army, still able to get a nice engagement, but at this point he should really retreat, I think. He only has throwing axemen left. He stayed a bit too long, I would say. He's actually made a lot of farms as well, so spending a lot of resources on all these things where... I mean, is there no food here anymore? I guess there isn't. Maybe he just didn't scout it. Remember, his scouts were just dealing with spearmen. Oh, he's now building a tower in his base because he knows he has to defend. Making some horsemen. Carnage down 50 population. Villager count 62 against the 58, so Eery is a little bit ahead. And I just don't feel that Carnage can take this fight. Like, there's no reason for him to just go outside of the protection of his buildings and just fight in this open space here. He could go back a little bit, I think. So maybe the bowman will hit the buildings and he has a better chance of winning the fight. So taking not the best trades. Eery stealing his cows as well. No, he was going to eat them. 400 food. Now parked in the middle of the map. Sorry for all the vegetarian players out here, but in Age of Empires we eat cows. Carnage is frantically getting up some barracks. He did lose some military buildings. He has a lot of production actually. Spending lots of villager seconds on getting this. And now he's staying back, but... Was he too greedy by getting all these upgrades and third age? He did get a third town center as well, so his villagers are going to be booming. But he is down in villages now. 65 against the 76 for Eery. With only 2 fishing boats, so Eery's going age 3 behind this. He's getting his own armory. About 5 minutes later, Carnage already has 2 upgrades, so slight lead. There's 2 bowmen here as well. May actually get some villager kills. 1 spearman. He's gonna deal with it. I actually find this fight more interesting than the other fight. Yeah, I can get both in the same screen. Yeah, so they are gonna hit the villagers again. Okay, so Eery age 3 is getting Lancer champion. He's upgrading his fisher ships, he's getting some economic upgrades. Carnage just have the age 2 economic upgrades, but he could get the age 3 ones, but right now he has to just hold on. He did manage to get an army out. He's capped at 140 population, he has to build some houses. There he goes. But right now he's a lot of production actually. 5 stables, 2 archery ranges, some more stables, like he has like 7 stables, 4 archery ranges, or 3, few barracks. Actually he only has 1 barracks. So, what am I saying? There's 2 here. So we're going to see mainly lots of cavalry units and lots of bowmen for Carnage. Let's see, did Eery get some more gardens? No. Ziggurat upgrades also not. He's making royal guards now. Which recently, they used to be an H4 unit, they are now in H3. They're good against infantry, but as we just saw, Carnage is mainly going for cavalry and range units, so there are some infantry units here. And he has 20 horsemen. And where is the anti-cav? There's 9 champion spearmen. They are hitting the cavalry, all of them actually. So flanking around with the lancers as well. The royal guards are actually hitting the spearmen. I would say a pretty good position for Eery with the Norse army. really strong. Maybe he needed a bit more anti-cav. See, he's making just a lot of royal guards. I mean, sure, why not? He's going for massive royal guards. And there's not much... Yeah, I mean, there's some more spearmen on the way, but... So after that fight, Eery up to 20 population. Did build some siege workshops next to the coast, and he's getting some siege towers. He's got a nice contain. He's got a watch post on the left side. However, this army just looks so scary. It's mainly because of the gear, but look at this. I love the Norse gear. And the only fast unit that Carnage has is his horsemen. So sending over these mounted archers may be hard to deal with for Carnage. I mean, he knows they're there, but he can't really send his horsemen because they counter it. He's just gonna send this whole group. Some bowmen here as well. He's pushing in here. The mounted archers are going back. Oh, nice. And with the few infantry units that Carnage does have, he's gonna build some towers on this gold mine. There's a gold mine here as well. Here is gathering here. So we will have to take a look at the gold mines. Scout does go down, I think. I think Eery could be doing a better job of taking advantage of this water. He has a massive bank. He's only getting H2 army upgrades. He did add a second armory, but could be doing a better job of spending his resources. I like how he has a few shield bearers mixed in here to tank these bowmen and towers. He's losing some villagers here. Where are the mounted archers? Siege towers are here. I feel like I'm missing some stuff. So these Norse horsemen do have a bonus against siege. 1.5, so they will be quite able to deal with this one siege tower. I mean, look at how fast it will go down. Killing one storehouse. These are not cheap, man. I mean, 350 resources. I think Carnage does not know about them yet. He's gonna build a fort here. Did all these mounted archers really just die? Yes, they did. Oh, nice. It looks like Eery has the pharmacology upgrade. He's getting his Ziggurat upgrade. So all these units will heal 1 HP per second. If you look at the HP here in the bottom. No more gardens yet. And we have an army of 42 bowmen, 2 lancers, 4 sappers, 4 royal guards and 7 shield bearers. There is not a single anti-cav unit in here, which is gonna be a problem, I would say. Ooh, well, look at this. There's berserkers on the field. I love it. Some more mounted archers here. There's skirmishers as well. The entire Norse arsenal is being used. Well, no dogs yet. There's also some priests you could be making. 12 villagers and 4 ox carts are on the run. Yeah, so of course you would like to have 1 ox cart here, but it's really hard with Babylon to manage all that, I always find. So let's see how he deals with this. They're just gonna idle for now. There is this cav group, which may have existed before. These may have been the cav units I was looking for. So Eery's army is this. Eery is going H4. Carnage could go H4, but he's deciding to push in. He has this small army here is going to pick up some houses. This fort is quite lucky to get up. Some berserkers are going to go down. And these berserkers also cost a lot of stuff. Oh my god, is he gonna deny the fort? No, he's not. Fort is being repaired instantly. He's not microing it on the bowman yet. He should be hitting the bowman with his fort. But he also has to pay attention to this. He's actually doing a lot of damage here, Eery. Nicely walling off this side. Look at these hero infantry units. Royal guards. Can't quite catch them. Get here, you! I feel like a lot of villagers are dying here. Carnage is down to 62 villagers. To the only 71 for Eery. So Eery also realizing that he's playing against Carnage, who likes to play low villager count, and maybe adapting a bit. He did reach age 4 now, so he can, if he would cancel this bowman. He actually deleted some units somewhere else. Actually, no, never mind, these died. He could be getting a Palintonen soon. He should be getting a Palintonen soon. There he goes. And there's a slight window here where Carnage only just clicked his age 4 button. He does not have access yet to ranged siege. And he could be doing some damage here. And this is finally the point where Carnage scouts the siege workshops. They were here for such a long time and just got so lucky. Very nicely walling. And the water is just so underused that I don't get why only Eery has 4 fishing boats, which are actually idle right now. And why Carnage is not building any ships. I mean, he could even just build a regular, I think a long ship it's called for the Norse, which can shoot and can also transport villagers. So getting on the island and also doing some damage at the same time. So there's already 2 Palintonens out. No, they're just from that one fort. I think that's just the power of gardens. Actually, there's only 1 garden left. That raid did more damage than I thought. Okay, so the window for Eery is closing. He has 2 Palintonens. Carnage is now age 4. He has a fort from which he can train his own ranged siege. Where is the anti-cav? There's 9 mounted archers. There's 15 horsemen. I don't know, I feel like some spearmen would be really good. Actually, there's 8 spearmen. Never mind. There's just so many different units. There's also 3 sappers here. 13 royal guards. On the other side, Carnage. There's 11 berserkers, which is actually a lot. There's like 1500 gold right here in just berserkers. And there's even more coming. So I should be looking at the anti-infantry, which are these 49 bowmen. He's gonna set up here. Ooh, and shoot in the middle. There's actually some berserkers dying there. His army was really clumped up and he got a really nice hit. He's not making lock throwers himself, he's getting Berserker Champion. Which is just great. I love it. Okay, so Berserker Champion will have them have 4 health regeneration every second. Berserkers will be able to charge and they won't be snared by the spearmen. So they will be able to get on top of the bowman and deal the massive area damage that they do. It's gonna be sick to see that charge. So Eery has a lot of resources. So getting a surround. Carnages. This Berserker Champion is finished. There's just really cheap bowmen here. For Eery, armory upgrades are looking about the same. Yeah, they are the same. Eery is just getting his H4 melee defense. And these 42 bowmen just stayed alive the entire fight. Very nice. Some shield bearers tanking the bowmen. And what an engagement for Eery. There was a surround for Carnage. Yeah, this is just like, I guess, why Norse has some struggles to deal with range pulse maybe. That went surprisingly well for Eery. I mean, the armor upgrades are the same. So all you Norse OP callers in the chat, how do you explain this? No, I'm joking, guys. Okay, so Carnage 50 population behind. His town center is gonna go down. His resources are a lot lower now. Eery has a big bank of 3,000 food. This one garden is doing work. Should get some more gardens, to be honest. Did he get Total War? He did not get Total War. So let's just upgrade 10% more damage, which is just so important to get. He's actually a bit low on gold right now. He's got a market line set up. It's only a 77 gold one. On the other side, Carnage's market line just got shut down. There's 10 caravans going idle here. Because the town centers are down. He's building his town center here, which will mean that he will have a really nice market line. Once again going for the surround. But I also think in the previous engagement that there was no range siege for Carnage, so that's what he needed against the Bowman Ball. However, it looks like it's going a bit better. No, it's actually not. It's not going better at all. Taps out. And Eery is able to equalize the series, making it a 2-2. So, do we see a sick comeback for Eery? Okay, so we're going to go to the wheel. Let's keep it in place. So the last game will also be played on Treasure Island. So, a triple Treasure Island series. Carnage can still play Babylon and Persia, I think. And Eery can still play Norse and Greeks. So players are not too happy with playing Treasure Island again, but that's how the wheel works. So let's take a quick look at his stats. Carnage once again wants to move quickly. He's always trying to get me to rush these series. PM Civ. Okay, so let's quickly go through this because Carnage is in a rush. Okay, so I got these. So I say I want to do the stats and Carnage is like, no. Okay, just gonna go quickly over them then. Quite equal in villagers. Eery was a bit ahead in military, it seems here, but Carnage had cav units which count as 2 pops, so yeah, they were quite equal, but Eery was just able to sneak up to H4, and I'm not sure why Carnage never built a lock thrower. I feel like he really needed lock throwers here, and he was just engaging in a place where I guess he kind of needed to defend his buildings there. So, not really going on the Treasure Islands. Actually building so many docks at the end, what the hell? Okay, just quickly check this. Eery gathering a little bit more than Carnage, only slightly. Having a few more techs, but overall it was really equal. Eery getting slightly better trades, but then again 2 pop units. So very equal game, just at the end it was decided. Then well pointed out by. Oh shit. Supposed to hide my home city to you. Now you saw my naked units. No. Yeah, okay. Eery has Norse and Greek. Actually, you already saw the Civ. Okay, so yeah, very well pointed out by P2K in the chat that there was no chief for Carnage there. So just a really key unit in the Norse H4 composition, and also no dogs, which I always like to mention are really important. So Eery could pick his Norse, but he's instead going for Greeks. We're once again playing on Treasure Island. And Carnage saved his Persians, so I think Carnage is quite comfortable with his Persians. He does have a hunt spawn all the way in the corner here, which is not the greatest. However, his first hunt was also on that side, which makes it a little better. There's a bear here for the second hunt for Eery, so struggles all around. So we can chill asked, how often do these tournaments take place? Well, people keep donating money. It's hard to keep finding players, but we'll see. I mean, maybe we will have a next one in a few months. I think the last one was a few months ago, so history so far says once every few months. I'm trying to read the chats, but I'm 2 minutes behind. This alert box I have on the side is no longer working, so I can't see what that was, but thank you, regardless. Okay, let's get into the game. So once again, spear rush from both players. Actually, where did we see the Greeks? It was also on this map. Yeah, we saw the exact same matchup, but the other way around. On the same map. So that should be interesting. So here we're scouting the base of Carnage. Scouts the barracks. Carnage sitting in the front of Eery's barracks with his own scouts to hit any spearmen that try to cross the map. Ooh, did Eery scout this? Very nice scouting by him. Every game he's just really doing a good job at scouting the second hand. Carnage being a nice guy, killing a bear on Eery's side of the map. Eery's protecting his second hand. Both of his hunts are in front of his town center. So there is a group of 4 Sparabara crossing the map here. There's 3 spearmen here. One villager is hit to half HP. And Carnage is just gonna hit the storehouse. This villager is also in the group of villagers repairing. Looks like he will save the storehouse. Look at this. Some friendly sheep sharing there. It's a little fight here. Looking quite equal now. So what you want to do here is target the low units and pull away the ones that are hit. So it looks like Eery is pulling out ahead there. Quite a close fight, I think, there. And Eery is stuck in H1. He has the resources for a town center already. So does Carnage, but the difference is that Carnage... Oh my god, I missed this completely. Carnage can build a town center as soon as he ages up. So it looks like two spearmen. Those were the two spearmen that were defending here. I was looking for them. They were sent over here. And they denied the second hunt. While Eery was still able to defend at home. So pretty impressive there. Right now they're just dancing around. So let's see if he killed any villagers. We're looking at 19 against 22. However, Eery just have to use his town center for edging up now. So I'm not sure how long that takes actually. I think they're still equal, no villager deaths. Carnage could get Hensel right now, which he probably should. He was able to afford the town center, which is quite exposed actually. Spearmen are coming in. Where are the Sparabara? They are right here. Oh no! One villager goes down. Oh, and he's targeting the town center. This is looking really bad. Sparabara completely out of place. A second villager goes down. A third one. A fourth one. A fifth one. He's just now sending over these. Did he ring the town bell or? I don't know. Not sure what's going on there. So down to 18 villages now to the 23 for Eery. But he does have his town center up already. The town center for Eery is going up right now, so he will be able to catch up. But he would have been ahead in economy by quite a lot, I think, because of this faster town center. Looks like the bear was slaughtered here. Once again, these sheep. There's a sheep in the army. We're going at 4 speed, boys. Nice and slow. As Eery is able to make some hypers now. He has 2. Third one on the way. Archery range and a stable for Carnage. He's not quite able to afford a Sabara right now. He rather spends his food on getting Hansa, which is probably a good idea. He's gonna raid with these few Sparabara. However, these Hyperspears are now 7 speed, so it could be risky. He finds the villagers. Really nice pickup. He's able to kill 1. These are half HP. And for the Greek player, it's gonna be hard to. it's gonna be hard to heal. Sorry, I'm laughing because someone says in the chat, commentate what the sheep are saying, please. We were talking about this. Maybe in a future stream I will have my sheep voice. So double stable for Carnage. Here he's going back on this berries patch. I think there was a hunter as well before. He's gonna macro an army. Let's see what Eery has actually. He went for a stable and a double archery range, so he does have one Ceres Selfroy on the coast. Where's the red sheep? There it is. So the 2 pals are split apart right now. So Eery making sure Carnage is not on the water. It seems like Carnage does not like to make a dock at all on Treasure Island. Which is interesting. Ooh, losing the scout there. Which is not great. He does not know about any of the buildings by Eery, so this could prove to be a problem. So Eery's army is going to contain a lot of Toxotes. So he might want... Yeah, he does have double stable already. Which I guess will be good for him. For Asabara going on this side of the map, for Seri going on the other side. They're going back to the hunt, but they will find these house builders first, but They're going to the hunt. Yeah, Sabara killing one villager. Seri killing 2. Nice reaction time by Eery. No reaction time by Carnage. 2 villagers down. He's sending over this Sabara instead. And he's getting a tent right now from this storehouse. He realizes that he's gonna need a tent. These Asabara are still doing work. Killing a house. Was there a second house there as well? I think they may have killed a house already. Eery is pop capped at 105 right now. So very nicely setting Eery a bit behind. Eery is up in population a bit now, which is interesting, considering that he's playing Greek. Ooh, and the Asabara do not make it back home. Nice pickoff by Eery, sending his army all the way to the coast to kill them. So he remains in the population lead, despite being pop blocked a bit. He's adding a barracks. Carnage making his armory a little bit later than his usual timing now. About 10 minutes into the game he's making it now. There's a fight going on here. Looks like 6 Seris fought 3 Asabara. Sheep are still in place. Actually both sheep are blue now. The double agent comment is true. This army is defending this one villager on the gold mine. There are 2 storehouses here that heal. These villagers were scared off. Getting some free hits on the Seri. He's actually gonna move back, Eery. He did make a duck now.
Behold the chosen one.
Thanks for the follow, Shadow. He's gonna make a watch post here, so he's gonna make sure that Carnage does not go on the water. And if Carnage could get these Asabara back home, he could heal them back all the way to full. So he's kind of losing his Asabara, Carnage. He had double stable for a while, but in his main army there's just 1 Asabara. Maybe he's just not quite able to afford them. Another raid going by Eery. So there is A10 now here, but A10 can only heal 1 villager at a time. So he should really be pulling back these villagers or he's gonna lose a lot. Ooh. So as I said, these so far can't heal. There's 2 really low ones. One is 1 HP. So villager count 51 to 54. Carnage is going H3, but Eery is pushing in. The Serasophor are getting a nice flank, but they are low HP. I think they will die really fast actually. So not really doing that much. So there's 32 bowmen against the 33 Toxotes. Both armies looking quite equal, only Carnage is down 30 population. So this is about 50 pop. This is also about 50 pop, so where is this different? Is there a raid I'm missing? $52 against 56 villagers. Kind of feel like my math isn't checking out. So once again these gatherers are being harassed. Looks like a few, thanks to the help of A10, are able to get away. Carnage already has Pierce attack, and Pierce armor is on the way right now. No armory for Eery. Let's see if he's gonna get Bowman champion, which might be an idea now, considering he has 45 Bowman. Just not. Oh, he does get it. And Eery is just going on another raid. Very nice, using his stable units really well. He's only making a few fishing boats like in the last game. Gonna push in again. He's going H3 himself, but these Bowmen are soon gonna be champion. They are not yet now, and Carnage is already going in. He notices that his army is a bit larger maybe. Oh, I think Eery is just giving him some free hits. There are some Seri here, but overall doing lots of damage. His Farabara are not champion right now. very nicely keeping some spearmen in the base to deal with these raids. Double armory going up for Eery, committing 7 villagers. He does have his H2 economic upgrades, no H3 ones. Carnage does not have the gold upgrades. He should get some economic upgrades. Oh, there he goes. So Eery reached H2 as well. He's gonna get Toxotes champion, which will give them 10% health and 10% damage. These bowmen are now, there's now 61 of them and they are our champion. And he is getting the second pierce attack armor upgrade for them. Kasparu said in the chat 2 minutes ago that he thinks Carnage is super dead. Well, I can tell you from the future that that's not the case. He's sitting at a healthy 63 villagers to the 63 of Eery. He's ahead in upgrades. He's confined to his base, not making any docks. I really don't like how he's not going on the water at all. And also, why is he not making any more Asabara? He just seems to like this massive bowman ball. Both players have kind of a similar armory. There's 45 Toxotes. There's 45 spearmen here actually in the army of Eery, but there's no cavalry units. So maybe he has tricked Eery a bit into making all these spearmen. Well, there were 25, but there's now 4 left. These bowmen, I think they got 25% faster firing rate from the champion upgrade, so they're just straight up 25% DPS. So these Toxotes do 14.5 DPS, and these bowman champion do 16.2 DPS. So keep in mind, Carnage does have more upgrades, but bowman actually doing better right now than Toxotes, because he's only 1 pierce attack upgrade ahead. So nicely keeping the spearmen a bit in the back. And where are the Seri? They're coming from the other side. There's only 5 Seri so far though. Let's see. There's the classic siege workshop by Eery. And Eery does have 10 hoplites now, which are going to be great at tanking this bowman ball. 79 bowmen against 54. Yeah, and Carnage realizes he can just take this fight. Oh my god. That's just amazing game sense to know he can just push in there and just take that fight and puts himself ahead by 50 population. Meanwhile, there are rams coming in here. Just gonna send the first ram in right now. Carnage has no idea, but because there's only one, he's gonna be able to react. Small raiding group being sent to the other side. Striker asked me, how is the Norse walking ram called? And PF2K already answered you, so thank you. So only killing 1 saber, I think. I think it may have been better if you just got like 4 rams there and then sent them. Actually, this raiding group is proving to be quite effective. Actually, he also lost the house. So only 4 fishing ships. Don't really like again how the water is not being used. Let's get an armory comparison. So Eery is now getting his second pierce attack upgrade. He only has the pierce upgrade, so the other armory upgrade that he has right now, or is getting right now, is the H3 pierce armor. Carnage does not have that one yet. He does have H3 pierce attack, and he's now getting melee attack, which I'm not sure why actually. Maybe pierce resist would have been a better choice, or melee armor. And he doesn't have a tank line right now, and there are 17 hoplites right here, and also 21 pal test. Oh, he attack moved them, so they only hit 1. Meanwhile, we saw Some Asabara cleaning up the proxy siege workshops. The tank line is down, but it's 35 bowmen, and there's a lot of peltas here, and he just can't take that fight. So where before he had a really nice decision to push forward, it was not the right decision here, because these peltas, they do a lot of damage to ranged units, but they also tank a lot of ranged damage. They do not often get in a situation where they tank ranged damage like this, but in that situation. Alright, so we do have a fort going up here. Let's take a look at the gold situation for both players. Eery building a cheeky watch post all the way over here. There's a gold mine here, there's one here. Eery notices the fort he's getting from this gold mine, which only has 1,000 left, and then it's this one, I think. Unless there's one I'm missing. Just have a market line set up now, which gives 80 gold, and out of nowhere there's 22 Asabara champion and 1 sheep. Whoops. And 8 more on this side. So suddenly a transition to Asabara. I mean, he does have some range units left, but he's transitioning to a lot of Asabara, which are champion and do a lot of damage. He's gonna snipe the market really easily. On this side, there are some Prodromos, which are really good anti-cav units, so this will be cleaned up. Splitting up the Asabara very nicely. Eery is completely caught off guard here. He did have some walls here already, but he's now gonna build some more because you do not want this to happen. They're killing villagers. He is losing a lot of them right now. The Prodromos are probably here, so oh my god, he's gonna lose all of them. He did do some damage, but overstayed his welcome a little bit. So he's gonna go for another round. He's back up to 20 Asabara. And in the meantime, he's gonna go H4 behind this. So very nice. Keeping Eery in his base. Actually, Eery is gonna go out with his own raiding group, which is consisting of 7 Prodromos and 8 Sarasophoroi. Did not get the champion upgrade for the series. He does have 5 armory upgrades. But he does not have this melee defense upgrade, so these Asabara are going to be hitting really hard. And this is actually what Carnage is going to use to defend against these raids. Even though these Prodromos are anti-cavalry, he has bigger units. Very nicely catching them. Where's his armory? I guess I hotkeyed it. Okay. So maybe that's why we saw those early melee upgrades for Carnage while he was having a ranged army, because he was preparing for this transition. He's a little bit ahead in upgrades, and he reached the H4 right now. So I'm not sure if I mentioned this, but oh yeah, I did. Just keeping Eery busy while going to H4. So he's getting second to last, or his first to last H3 armory upgrades. From H4 he's getting a Pelantonon 2. And Eery is almost ready to go H4. He could click the button almost. There he goes. Did Eery get an academy yet? Which would allow him to sneak to H4 a lot faster. He does not have an academy. Ooh, and there's a lot of villagers here. Well, there's 2 left. 71 villagers against 62 for Eery, so these raids are quite effective. 9 Prodromos and 3 Sarasophoroi fighting 21 Asabara. I'm not sure if this is a good trade for Carnage. He may win it, but take a lot of damage. He's also fighting underneath the military buildings of Eery. I guess you shouldn't underestimate Asabara. He's pushing in, he has an Pelantonon here. He's looking to close out the series. He's gonna set it up because he saw the army, but now he needs to pack it up again. Gets 1 hit off. Gonna slow down Carnage a little bit. Eery needs to buy some time here, or he's gonna lose all his military buildings. But Eery really needs just a fort of his own. Or maybe go onto the island. Very nicely drawing away the army. While at the front of the base, there's 2 Palantonans. Okay, Eery is age 4 now, so what? Instead of getting a Palantonan, he's going for Ballista. So he's gotta wait it out. He's gotta sacrifice these buildings. His town center will go down. His armories are here as well. But he will have some Ballista to defend. The Sabara count is going lower. However, this does put Eery at 160 population. He's only at 57 villagers. Against a 74 of Carnage. He does have 1 Ballista he was able to afford with his small bank, but there's just cavalry units everywhere. There's mounted archers on the top, denying this gold mine, which is his only gold gathering right now, except for his market. He has the 1 Ballista to make things happen. It's being targeted. He's moving in with his units. Dodging 1 Palantonan shot. He's gonna shoot again. Oh! Gets 1 hit. There's no other Ballista on the way. So that actually makes quite a big difference. Will not be able to get the 2nd Palantonan. And now he's just gonna tap out. He's actually gonna tap out. He's not gonna try for a wonder on the island. He realized that he's down to 53 villagers. Built up some very nice raids by Carnage. He could have maybe done a little bit of a better job with some walls. Or leaving some spearmen back in his base. So yeah, let's first go here. So what this means is, if you look on the bottom right, let me first change this. Yeah, so Carnage advances and he's gonna face off against Recon, which will be the next series, which will obviously still have to be scheduled. And then no. And then the winner of that will have to face against Zerton for the finals of the tournament. So let's take a look at these quest stats. So Eery lost a lot of... Well, Carnage lost some villagers at the start. Actually, I'm not sure which villages those... Oh yeah, that was the town center, of course. He was building the town center and then Eery caught him. But because he had the town center a bit earlier, he was still able to keep up. For quite some time, until Eery was a little bit ahead. But it also meant that Carnage had a larger army. Which is just his playstyle. So as you can see, at this point, like at the 17th minute mark, Eery had some more population, but Carnage had a larger army, so they engaged and well, you see a big dip in the military population for Eery. So the larger army strategy working here for Carnage. Take a look at the idle villagers. Eery having quite some idle villagers at the end. Carnage on the other hand, just on top of his macro. Very nice. Let's look at the ending economic upgrades. So nice to be able to discuss the game. Oh, what? I never even heard the sound. Carnage was building a wonder in his base. Somehow I keep missing these sounds in these games, I guess. So, signature move by Carnage. Once you are winning a game, just build the wonder, and the goal is to build it as close to your opponent's base as possible. However, Eery is in the same clan as Carnage, so he's gonna play it nice. Just build it over here in his own base. So I completely missed that. Maybe you guys heard the sound. So yeah, comparing the economic upgrades, Carnage really did not get that many, and
Behold the
neither
chosen
did Eery. Thanks for the something. Look at the macro for both players. Very nice, keeping their resources low at the end, floating a little bit of stuff, but I guess Wonders cost a lot of gold. Actually, it looks like Carnage spent a lot of gold near the end. He must have gotten some champion upgrades that I did not see. Maybe it was just on units. They did engage and he had to spend a lot of units. Looks like he doesn't have any of the big champion upgrades. Mounted Archer? No. So the island once again completely unused by both players. Taking a look at all the resources gathered, we see that Eery only gathered a few more resources, so he did have more villagers for a while, well, not near the end. So this is kind of expected. He did have a few more idle villagers, so I guess Carnage was able to use the villagers that he had a bit more efficiently. Both players getting about the same amount of tax. And look at this, Carnage is getting a lot nicer trades. I especially like the moment when he was here and he was fighting against Taxodis with a larger group of bowmen, and he realized that even though the numbers were quite equal, he could just pull ahead and fight that. And he got a really nice trade and put himself 50 population ahead there. So the goats disappeared. Yeah, so Carnage killing 34 buildings at the end. Very nice. Alright, I think that does it. So Carnage advancing to face off against Recon in the losers bracket final, which will no doubt happen soon. And once again another 3-2 series. So far every series I've casted, which has been like 4 or 5 so far, has ended in a 3-2. So if Recon and Carnage want me to cast their series, they know what to expect. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed, and see you all next time.